shattered dreams. Melts a giant fucking screams. Neon glass stations light. Shadows dancing in the night. Power searching through the veins. Concrete jungle metal rings. Heroes rise.
It's Tuesday, and on Tuesday we look at toys. Specifically today, we're looking at the return of Heroscape, now in the capable hands of Renegade Studios. Anybody remember Heroscape? I do. They had some pretty cool figures and some pretty cool terrain. What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live on another foggy, gloomy Tuesday here at Site B. About 8 o'clock in the morning here on the 8th day of October. Got to go get our Halloween candy and look at some Halloween toys. So this is Heroscape. It is a pre-painted plastic miniature war game. It came out originally, I want to say a while back, but I don't actually remember when. But it's been at least 8-10 years, if not longer. And it's changed ownership a couple times. Pretty much your typical build a faction. They fight each other over the terrain. What was interesting about Heroscape was it came with the terrain. So you didn't have to just use the table, and you didn't have to spend hundreds of dollars on the terrain because it came with its own terrain, which was pretty cool. And they were D&D size figures. So even if you never played Heroscape, you could get, some pretty cool figures, especially if you were looking like for groups. Like, oh, I need 4 lizard men. And then you could look at the D&D lizard men, and you could look at the Heroscape lizard men and decide which lizard men fit your theme better. So let's take a look at Heroscape, currently in the hands of Renegade / Hasbro. Avalon Hill had them for a while. I don't remember who else, but yeah, the figures were cool. We always liked the figures. So do we have some pictures of the figures? So here we've got the 2 starter boxes. We've got the Age of Annihilation Master Set, and we've got the Battle of Wellspring, which is a 2-player starter. It was a time travel game, so you could have samurais fighting soldiers, fighting dragons, fighting angels. No pictures of the figures. Huh? No pictures of the figures. Maybe under story, character biographies. Let's try that. Some pictures. I was hoping to find some actual figures. Let's show you guys. Here you go, Heroscape painting. Let's see if we've got some paints. How to paint Heroscape, painting resources, master paint guide. But no actual figures on the web page. That's a mistake, Renegade, because that's what people are going to want to see is the actual figures. And if we go to shop, we don't see the figures. We see the pictures of the trees, but we don't see actual figures. Here's a picture of the terrain, but again, no actual figures. Here's some more terrain, but no actual figures. Let's see if we can find some online. Heroscape image. Here you go. This is much better. All right. Now, unfortunately, Heroscape is on the pricey side, but I thought it'd be fun to look at other figures besides Warhammer. Maybe show some people some other figures that they could pick up out there. So here's an example of one of the setups. It's a D6 system, 3D terrain. You even got trees and water and little hexes, and you can get little buildings, and everything's built out of these interconnecting little things, pods, whatever you want to call them. Which is probably why it runs a little bit more pricey, but still pound for pound it's cheaper than Warhammer. And it's either the same price or cheaper than just getting a blister box of D&D figures. Plus, again, these are all built around a specific theme, as opposed to just random blind boxes like you get with the D&D figures. You might get a figure you want, or you might end up with 16 dire trolls, and you're like, I don't need 16, and hoping to trade them. So there's a picture of one of the figures. The quality of the paints was decent. The quality of the figures ranged from decent to pretty damn good to, there were a couple that looked pretty lazy, especially some of the units. You could definitely tell which units were the favorites at the company by which ones got the most detail and which ones didn't. Here's another example of some of the painting. I don't know if you can see it. Here's the starter set, the original starter set. So you can see you got a pretty good collection of figures, terrain, little cards to represent your characters. Everything pretty much complete in one little box. So you could do a 2-player right out of the box. Player 1 plays the, cyborgs. Player 2 plays the vampires. And then you just piece together the terrain anywhere you want. Each of the terrain pieces might or might not have a special ability that it grants, either a benefit or a hindrance. But again, like most miniature games, it's miniature war games, really, it was the quality of the figures. So here we have some of their necro. See, these are undead tech, but with a little modification, they made great skeletons for D&D. Here's some more of their units. Looks like some lizardmen. Here's one of the individual heroes, a female pirate of some kind. So yeah, unfortunately, the website doesn't really do justice to the figures. But, Heroscape figures. Here we go. Oh, much better. So you can see that here's like a big major, large. Obviously, they also ran in sizes from big stompy figures to normal size figures to teeny figures. Here's looks like some type of dog boy. Here's some mechas. Here's a big black dragon. Their dragons were amazing. Here's a whole unit. We've got this guy riding a thing. We've got a variety of units. You can even see they have cyberpunk guys there and a red dragon. I had most of these. There's Blade for some reason. Orc riding a dinosaur, which is pretty cool. A couple of USA soldiers. Don't know how they got there, but it was a whole cross-dimensional war game kind of thing. So you could have, in this picture, vampires fighting musketeers, fighting knights, fighting dragons. And it made sense because it was a cross-dimensional, cross-timeline battlefield, the battlefield at the end of time, where all these forces from across the multiverse and across history were gathering together to fight these final battles. So you could have aliens, you could have robots, you could have typical fantasy armies, you could have military-specific armies like World War II guys, or knights, or cowboys, or cyberpunks, or you could mix and match, like a lot of the plastic mini games let you do. So you could have, your angel commander, and you could have your best cowboy figure and your best vampire figure all in the unit. It was small units, so you didn't need a 200. Everything you needed to run a scenario, 2-3 guys, or lots of little guys. There was a collectible value to them, but still they were technically cheaper than some of the other figure runs, and they just looked cool. I mean, they were just cool, and they had some cool ideas. And because they were D&D size, we, you used a lot of them for D&D. If you couldn't find a figure in the D&D box that fit what you wanted to play, maybe you could find one in the Heroscape box to see if that was closer to the character. And then they had some licenses like Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, Mutant Chronicles. There's some orcs with scimitars. So yeah, you can see the quality is decent to excellent. There were a few that, borderline mind blowing, but obviously with this field, you're always going to find the hand painted figures will always be better than the mass produced plastic figures that were just made and dye brushed and then copied and then mass produced by the machine, right? This looks good, but a hand painted by a human will always look better. But yeah, this is Heroscape, and it is available through Renegade. Link down below. If you're looking for a good starter game for miniature warfare, I would recommend this one. It would probably be high on my list. Easy to play, easy to collect. You don't need a lot to play it. A 3-4 unit army is enough. And if you're just looking for cool figs that might spur your imagination for unusual situations to throw at people in your role-playing game, the quality of these and the variety of these is definitely worth checking out. So link is down below. Why are you doing this, OGGM? This is Tuesday. Normally on Tuesday you talk about Games Workshop. Well, it looked like people were getting on a board of me talking about Games Workshop. So I suggested, well, what about if I talk about other miniature companies besides Games Workshop? And most of the people responded, yes, I'd like that. I'd like to see what else is out there. Not that I can afford them, but I still like to see what's out there because maybe there's something cheaper. If Games Workshop is the pinnacle that everybody's trying to achieve, then maybe we should have made a better thing. I have no idea what I just said. Talk to you later.